Hello, Facebook fans and YouTube fans of DX Engineering. It's Tuesday afternoon here in the Eastern time zone of the USA. It's time for Tuesdays with Tim and Jeff. I'm Tim, K3LR, and with me today is Jeff, KB8CWT. And Jeff, we are iced in.
Yeah, we got a little bit of snow and ice last night. Was able to do some snow plowing today, but keeping warm today with my new hoodie on.
Yeah, that DX Engineering hoodie does look good, and they have been selling quite well. So
Yes.
in addition to the fleece jacket, the sweatshirt, I mean, but that hoodie's nice in this wind.
Yes, it is.
It comes in very handy.
Yep.
And you know, I think we've had some inquiries about, hey, what can I do about the ice on my antennas?
Yes.
And the issue is a lot of the country has been iced over, and a lot of people are without power, especially down in Texas and Mississippi, Alabama. Even places in Ohio are struggling with power outages right now. So we wish everybody to stay warm and to do their best. But we got hit with an ice storm last night. And what that does is that affects the SWR on the antennas.
Yeah.
And for instance, I have an NVIS dipole that I use every morning on 80 meters, and the SWR is out of sight right now. And that number 18 wire looks like it's about number 2 now. Yeah. It's just packed with ice. And so you really can't do much about it. You're at the mercy of getting the sun on the antennas. I know you were talking, Jeff, to some of the customers that have hex beams.
Yes.
And what could they do? Well, they really can't do anything. No. In fact, I think it's better not to rotate anything. Just leave it in place.
Right.
And wait for the sun and the temperature to come up. That's very important. And it will eventually go away. But in the meantime, you have to be very careful if your radio doesn't have a tuner and the SWR is now higher. Now you have tuners in the 7200, in the 7300 you have a tuner. So there's a lot of, and you know, there's some good things here in the chat. So with respect to ice, so I want to pay attention to that too. We have KM6SOX on, and we have KC3 Delta Lima Lima. Our friend Mike, Kilo Echo 3 Juliet Papa, he doesn't live very far from me, and I know he got some ice.
Yeah.
Whiskey Charlie 8 Hotel, and Whiskey Delta 8 Juliet Mike. And Jerry says there's a lot of ignorance on the subject of ice. I know from my time in commercial that RF will not melt the ice, and your SWR will skyrocket when the ice touches the element. And that's true. Yeah. It just goes crazy. So you have to be very, very careful with your radio equipment. I had a ton of SWR this morning on that antenna. Not all the antennas are showing that problem, but it is a real problem. But that Jerry, thanks very much for pointing that out. And we've got Kilo Golf 8 Radio Yankee on. And Mark N4BCD says his tri-bander is drooping, rotor is frozen, ladder line is unbalanced, beverage is sagging, praying for warmth. And of course, Mark is down in the Huntsville area. Mm-hmm. So very rare to have that. Anyone else have audio? Yeah, I believe the audio is working. Sure that we would have heard more about that now. And Whiskey Alpha 3 Echo Radio Quebec on from Philadelphia, another place that got hard hit with this winter storm. But it's time to start thinking about, when the warm weather hits, Jeff, what sorts of antenna projects that you might do. And wondering what you have planned for your station. You have a fairly new station, and are you planning any upgrades, any changes this summer?
Not that I know of right now. I'm kind of landlocked here, so I can't do too much. But yeah, I think I'm going to probably stay with the butternut and my end-fed antenna for now.
Well, those are two good antennas, especially the butternut, and just make sure that you keep those radials in good shape.
Yep.
I know you were having some troubles there.
Yeah.
And let's see, early morning in the Philippines. So nice to have you on, Michael John. And that's 4 India 1 Alpha Whiskey Mike in the Philippines. And our friend Steelman, Jeff DeSalvo says, hey, Tim and Jeff, good to see you guys. Look good as normal. Bring in some sunshine to the dreary, cloudy day. And it's November 3, Juliet Delta. Also, Richard, that's Kilo Juliet 7 Lima Uniform Echo, Frozen, Eastern Idaho. And from Sweden, it's Sugar Mike 6 Lima Papa Fox. And also, Don says RF will melt the ice. It worked for us at VOA Bethany, but we had 250 kilowatt transmitters. That's a little bit more than your 100 watts there, Jeff.
Yeah.
And WD8NVN says he'll be replacing his coax cable for his antennas when the warmth returns. And that is something that a lot of people don't realize, that coax does need to be replaced over time. It's not one of these things you can just put it in and forget it. Over time, even though the jacket is, direct bury, all those sorts of things, whether it's buried or whether it's on the tower or up in the air, it will suffer from UV eventually. And what happens is that the braid starts to deteriorate as well. So most of the coax that I use here, I replace every 7 or 8 years. You can sweep it, but you don't want to have a problem either that slowly creeps in over time. One of the best indications that something is going on with your coax is that the SWR gets better. And so what's happening during that? Well, Jeff, here's what's happening. The SWR is getting better because the loss in the cable is going up. And that's what happens when water starts to get inside and breaks down the dielectric, and then the loss goes up, so you don't see as much reflected power coming back. And that's what causes the SWR to look better.
And that's how I knew my coax went bad last year when I ran over it with the yard aerator. I noticed the change up and down in the SWR.
Yep. So you got to keep your eye on that.
Yeah.
And the tall guy, John, says, hope everyone doesn't slip on the ice and on the ground if they go outside to look at their ice-covered antennas. Boy, that is the truth, John. You just have to be so careful. The emergency rooms fill up on days like this where you've got the ice outside and people slip and fall. And so you've got to be very, very careful. Carmen says this is listening and learning, and it is important to replace coax cables, absolutely. And Papa Yankee 2 Bravo November down in Brazil. And let's see, November Juliet 4 Zulu is on, and Oscar Kilo 2 Papa Alpha Yankee, and Kilo Papa 4 Quebec Victor Quebec. It's probably a little warmer in Puerto Rico, but amazing to see the snow down in Texas, and many cities in Texas are colder than Anchorage, Alaska right now.
Yeah, that is just unreal.
And my old home down in Oklahoma City, they're getting 3 to 5 inches of snow today, and that boy, that's going to be tough on them as well. And while we're on the subject of coax, Jeff, coax connectors, very important too. And I know you get lots of calls about that. It's amazing the number of operators that will spend thousands of dollars on their ham radio equipment, but try to go on the cheap when it comes to coax connectors, and those Hamfest specials.
Oh yeah.
Bad, bad, bad. Either DX Engineering connectors or Amphenol.
Yeah.
Pick one up. Those
and
are
make sure you tighten those connectors up. Give them an extra thing with some pliers or something.
quarter turn with the good channel locks. Very, very important. And let's see here. We've got Alpha Echo 5 Hotel Whiskey. Says howdy from Central Texas. And he wanted to thank Jeff for the help with the IC 7300 purchase a couple of weeks ago. And also thanks for his service as a Navy CB.
Thank you.
And that's really great, and always nice to hear happy customers and giving feedback. And James, November 2, Uniform Zulu, Quebec. He said this is a good day to stay inside and play radio. Just watch the SWR. And Dawn, Victor Oscar 1 X-Ray Hotel says, interesting. I thought believed that it was just the opposite. When coax ages and water migration comes in, thanks for the tip. And sometimes the SWR will go up, but sometimes the SWR gets better. So anytime something changes, though, you have to wonder why and dig into it. And we have WB4 Victor Bravo November on from Louisville, and our friend Dr. John, Kilo Bravo 3 Hotel. And thanks for watching, John. And we have Whiskey Delta 4 Papa Tango Juliet, 5 inches of snow in Tennessee, but no ice on the fan dipole. So that's good. And from Tulsa, Oklahoma, rolling power outages for our area. It's been quite an education about the power grid. And Victor Echo 2 India Alpha Tango from Quebec. And from Buenos Aires, Lima United 4 Echo Tango Oscar. And Mark, Kilo 5 Yankee Alpha Charlie. He said he's in Tulsa, Oklahoma. He says the tubes are warm and the coax connections are DXE and sealed up tight. Good. And our friend Mark, W8 Bravo Bravo Quebec, who is also on the phones today at DX Engineering. And Skip Longpath, KB8UUZ, is on with us. Hello, Parky. And also Val, India Uniform 3 Bravo Tango Yankee from Italy. So a good group on here today. We're talking about coax and using good coax connectors for your station. And if you are not sure that you can put a good coax connector on, give us a call here at DX Engineering. That's we have the cables pre-made. We'll put any kind of connector you want on, and they ship out of here really fast. I think that's the best advice, Jeff, is
oh, absolutely. Get the pre-made connectors. Yes, cables with connectors. You know, Mark was telling me this morning he got up this morning and he didn't see, getting up and going to work. He calls it getting up and going to fun. Talking to our customers, taking those orders. It's a fun day for Mark.
Yeah, and it's good that he doesn't have to drive 50 minutes right now into the office.
Yeah. He says sometimes it's kind of hard walking down that hallway, though, until he gets that coffee in him. But I wonder, with all the power outages out there, how many people got their Go kits out right now? Using
that's
those.
a good point. Yeah, you better have that Go kit charged up and ready to go, Jeff.
Yeah. And if you're using a generator, keep it out in the ventilation. Don't put it in your garage or anything like that. Get it out away from the house.
Yes. Yeah. Every time these things happen, you hear about people that die because they tried to have the generator in the house, or they tried to have the generator in a closed-in garage. So yeah, that's a good point. And so I'll tell you what, Jeff, I think it's time for you to go to lunch. And then get back on the phones. And I'll be back on for the Manufacturers Showcase here on the DX Engineering Facebook and YouTube channels on Thursday afternoon at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. For now, 73 from DX Engineering.